Now, yep, it's working. Oh, I was saying that my video queue was too full and I had to do a bunch of erasing. Okay, so we are going to do our last lesson in figurative language. You should have watched two lessons before this, one on idioms and one on symbolism. And before we get to the packets, we're going to finish our flipbook packet first. We're on the last page, which is symbolism, and this is the only place that we're going to do this because the last snow globe is an idiom one. So the last two lessons only have one part to them. So everybody grab this and let's read what it says. Symbolism is when an object is used to represent an idea. The heart represents love, or an eagle represents freedom. So we're going to put my symbolism example and then write a sentence and draw a picture of the symbolism being used. In the short video, which only had music, it didn't have anybody talking, it showed quite a few different ideas for symbolism pictures. In writing, of course, we don't see those pictures, and I'm going to go with heart. I'm going to draw a heart, and we know that it means love or affection. A heart equals love or affection. Now, of course, you could pick any symbol you want to from there. You can do it with me, or you can do one on your own. And then when we talk about in literature and writing, because we're doing figurative language, we're not looking at symbolism as the actual pictures. So when you read a book, you don't see hearts. You hear them talk about a heart. Now, we know that our heart in our body is not necessarily heart-shaped even. We know it has nothing to do with loving someone else. That's not where our feelings of love are situated in our body. It is an organ. Its main job is to pump blood throughout the body. It's a necessary organ to keep us alive, but it really has nothing. Just a minute, I'm going to pause. All right, that's better. We got rid of that light. It really has nothing to do, as I was saying, the heart, with love. Our feelings for love come from our brain and our emotions. So, somewhere way back in history, somebody decided that was, I think it was ancient Greeks to be honest, that's where our feelings of love come from. Of course, they did not have a whole lot of understanding of the physical human body and emotions and mind working, but that's okay. And it's stuck with us forever and ever, including, our love for God, our soul. We kind of have that was another thing that was placed in our heart, whereas those are really up here. So when we're writing, instead of using the symbol for heart, we often use heart. And so if we're talking about love and affection, we would write a sentence that would say, my heart went pitter pat when I saw my, let's say, husband. Okay. And that's a real common one that we find in literature. I want you to write that down. My heart went pitter-pat when I saw my husband. And a lot of people talk about your heart beats faster when you see someone that you love or like in a loving way, which you're not old enough for yet. So I'm going to go to another kind of feeling for love, which is affection. And I'm going to use an example that we read or see every year at Christmas time, and that's the Grinch. And you'll remember at the end of the Grinch, it says I'm going to put the Grinch, not his. The Grinch's heart grew 3 sizes that day. And let's write that down. The Grinch's heart grew 3 sizes that day. And we all know it has that little measuring box, and it grows and it pops the box apart. And it's not, of course, really growing. Hearts don't do that. They don't get larger like that. But what it's showing is his ability to love and have compassion and affection for the people of Whoville happened as he understood the complete meaning of Christmas and Jesus coming to earth for us, and that we're supposed to have compassion and love for one another. So that's another example of how symbolism, how the heart is used to show affection and compassion and love. So, since there is no snow globe, I want you to draw a picture of either of these two sentences, down at the bottom. Or I'm going to allow you to draw different symbols that we might find in literature. Some of them you could find in that little video, and you need to label them. So if you were going to draw a heart, if you're going to draw a bunch of these, you would draw a heart, and then you would label it like that. And maybe you want to put the recycle sign, or you want to put other symbols that we see used in literature and around us in the world. So you need to copy this, and you either need to draw a picture of that sentence or a picture of that sentence, or you can draw a bunch of different symbols that you know of and label what they stand for. All right, then you're going to take a picture of that and send it to me. The other thing that you need to do is to take your packet of snow globes and find the page that says Idioms. Idioms. And in here, using the video that you've watched, you're going to write down what an idiom is. Then you're going to write one, and I'm going to have you go ahead and use ones that you've heard. And the most common one we hear is raining cats and dogs. And we've even talked about how what that means is pouring down rain. But if you were going to write rain, it's raining cats and dogs, you would draw a picture of cats and dogs falling from the sky on top of people. So you want to write an idiom here. You may use that one if you want to, or another one that you've heard many times. And then, of course, make sure you have the definition. Let's see. They say, on the snow and the snow globe, write a sentence about a fun winter activity that contains an idiom. A fun winter activity that contains an idiom. All I can think of is cold. I know several idioms that have to do with cold, but not activities. So I don't know. You can look up some idioms, Google them, write down whatever you want, make sure they're appropriate, because some are a little more adult than others, and then draw a picture of it and send me a picture of your idiom snow globe, or read it to me. So I need to see that you've got both packets finished. You might need to send me 2 pictures to show me that your figurative language packets are done. And then those both can be turned in either tomorrow on May 8th. Well, actually, never mind. Can be turned in on May 8th, which is actually when you would do this activity, or on May 15th, the last day to turn in work. So if you already have them done, you can turn them in tomorrow. And if you do it early in the morning, you can, because the drop-off time tomorrow is only in the afternoon. So make sure you turn both of those packets in if you haven't already. And that's our last figurative language lesson. So going forward next week, we aren't going to do any writing where it says writing. We will only do some fun end of the year activities. All right. See you later.